And the witching hour is approaching. Tonight we will be going down the path and discussing the magical, mythical high pressure boiler. I believe we left off with steam boiler fittings, chapter 3's review. We're going to talk about some key terms for the exam that are recommended in the study guide, and I also highlighted for my notes. And I will try to speak up. I am planning on getting a new microphone, and the light, it's not really helping my cause. It's been a long day. We're in what's called tech rehearsal, and those can run late, and right now I have a fluctuating shift almost every night. It's made it extremely difficult to maintain my study habits and still get the proper amount of rest, exercise, and family time to maintain a healthy psychological and physical state. It is challenging. Fortunately, I have also been working on myself physically, rigorously exercising and working out on a regular basis to get stronger in preparation for last year's hurricane season, or which we're still technically in, and however the water's starting to get cold and I'm not a fan. I know what you'll say, we'll get a spring suit or get a wetsuit, but I don't know if you've ever been in a wetsuit in cold water. They do help, however, it's the getting out of the wetsuit after you're getting out of the cold water that is really an absolute nightmare, and I've almost had my body go into shock from the cold and couldn't get out of my wetsuit fast enough. I was just kind of freezing in place. That's a story for another time. Let's talk some engineering. An automatic full open pop action valve that is opened by overpressure and used to relieve the overpressure before damage occurs is a known as a accumulation test, a pop test, maximum allowable working pressure, normal operating water level, or a safety valve. The operating pressure of a boiler, as determined by the design and construction of the boiler in conformance with the ASME code, is the next possible choice. The water level designated by the manufacturer as being proper water level for safe boiler operation. A test used to establish the relief capacity of boiler safety valves. A safety valve test performed to determine if a safety valve opens at the correct pressure. So our first definition, an automatic full open pop action valve that is opened by overpressure is a safety valve, is known as a safety valve, and they're used to relieve overpressure before damage occurs. Sorry, pardon me, my nose is itching. The operating pressure of a boiler is determined by the design and construction of the boiler in accordance to ASME code, is the maximum allowable working pressure. Water level designated by the manufacturer as being the proper water level for safe boiler operation is the normal operating water level, or NOWL. A accumulation test is used to establish the relief capacity of boiler safety valves, and a pop test is a safety valve test performed to determine if a safety valve opens at the correct pressure. I'm going to go into hydrostatic pressure as best that I can. Hydrostatic pressure, or pressure head, is caused by the height of a column of water independent of the shape of its container. The head of water in feet can be converted to pressure in psi. For every vertical foot of water, there is a pressure of 0.433 psi at the bottom. For example, a column of water 2 foot tall has a pressure of 2 times 0.433 equals 0.866. A column of water 10 foot tall has a pressure 10 times that of a column 1 foot tall, or 4.33 psi. So that would be 10 times 0.433 equals 4.33. All right, not so difficult to wrap your head around. Just some basic math and multiplication. According to the ASME code, a pressure gauge must be connected to the highest point of the steam space. We spoke about that previously. For a large boiler, the highest point may be 50 feet or more. The ground floor, 50 feet or more above the floor. One way to make the gauge readable at One way to make the gauge readable at the ground floor is to run a small pipe from the highest point to a gauge at ground level. Makes sense. The pipe will be filled with water. The pressure gauge reading will not be correct because of the head of water in the pipe. For example, a steam pressure gauge is located 20 feet below the top of the pipe. The water in the pipe is equivalent to a column of water that is 20 feet high, or 8.66 psi. Okay, we know how we came to that number. If the boiler is actually operating at 50 psi, the gauge would read 59 psi, or 50 plus 8.66 equals 58.66, rounded to 59. Easy enough. So a boiler is operating at 125 psi, and the steam pressure gauge is located 30 feet below the top of the steam drum. What does the gauge read? The gauge would read 138 psi. A steam pressure gauge is loaded 35 feet below the top of the steam drum. If the gauge reads 64 psi, what is the actual pressure in the steam drum? And if we apply the basic formula, we come to the answer of 49 pounds per square inch, 49 psi. And that's it for chapter 3. That's a little deeper dive than I've done on some of the previous reviews. However, it's perfect. We're coming right up on the 10-minute mark, and I kind of like to keep my videos about that length, if not longer. I think it's already exceeding most people's time span and ability to focus, or maybe time to devote to studying. I think in general people have shorter attention spans now. No disrespect to any of my viewers. It's just like with the new generation of TikTok where the videos are so super short. However, it's hard to squeeze in much technical information in a short amount of time. So thanks for hanging with me. Please like, subscribe, or share. This is for educational and artistic purpose. These are from my notes for high pressure boilers, and in preparation for licensing exams. I hope that this is a beneficial resource because I feel it's beneficial for me. So again, I will list my Bitcoin address below in case you'd like to support the content and contribute to the creation of more content in the future. Comment below if you have any questions or topics that you would like to see covered. Thanks and good night.